Excellent. So, good morning, all. And today we will be talking about a couple of topics. First and foremost is the Pasadena new taxes. And I've added potentially, it is probable, not even potential, it's higher than potentially. And we will also be talking a little bit, take a few minutes and talk about the assessment, the new 2026 assessment values that I got yesterday, and I added it to this presentation. Now, city of Pasadena, just like other cities, is facing budget deficits. I mean, it's not uncommon. In the city of Glendale, we had $30 million structural budget deficit, but the city cut it down to about by $17 million. And the reason that I want to talk about this thing is because the political reality in the Tri-City is that this borders, the ideological and political borders are fading away, or at least they're getting blurred between the three cities. In other words, when one city does or adopts a measure, the other cities pay very, very close attention to it. So the reason that Pasadena wanted to look at revenue enhancement is because, as I said, they had and they do have some budget deficits coming in the next few years. And this is what was discussed and suggested on Monday night, in the Monday night meeting last Monday night, the 13th, I believe, as far as revenue enhancement is concerned. They considered that they could increase the sales tax, and that would generate about $11 million in revenue, taxes from on parking occupancy, and what is of concern to us, and we have defeated this conversation in the city of Glendale in 2024, was the real property transfer tax that they estimated would generate about $26 million, and then going to all the way to about $30 million in parcel tax. Unanimously, the city council voted that they would like to get information back from the staff to be able to come up with a ballot measure language to be able to put this on the ballot in for the November 2028 elections. Now, consider this: there are about 14 or 15 other propositions on that ballot, so it's a crowded field. And also, because the parcel tax is deemed to be, according to California law, is deemed to be a special tax, it would definitely need 2/3 voter approval. So it's not 50% plus one, it is about 2/3. So this could very well be an uphill battle for City of Pasadena. Specifically, PFAR has intimated to me that they will be opposing the measure because they are under the impression that 3 or 4 more ballot measures that have been in the past few years, this adds up to a lot of money on an average single-family home as far as taxes are concerned. Here is a breakdown. If you own a $1 million home, you will end up paying another $272 on top of $1,100 assessments that because of community college, library tax, and so forth. So a 1,600 square foot home in Pasadena will end up, starting 2027, paying close to about $1,400 a year more in taxes. A $1.5 million, which is closer to median pricing, it's closer to about $2,000. I'm sharing this with you because you could share this with your clients or potential customers. And I will tell you, when I put out my realtor hat, this is the way I look at this thing. This may very well trigger a seller that is on the fence and wants to make a decision to sell or not to sell. Who knows? Or it could help you to distinguish yourselves as realtors from other real estate agents by informing your firm in Pasadena on what's coming on. So I wanted to share this with you for that purpose, and to also be cognizant of the fact that, is our bordering city. In the past, we have helped with their advocacy, and the chances are if PFAR decides to go forward and oppose this measure, we will somehow get involved if your board of directors decides to do so. I want to talk a little bit about assessment. This came to me yesterday from the assessor's office, and there is a reason why I'm doing this, and bear with me, and I'll be done in about 2 or 3 minutes. In the entire county of Los Angeles, the assessed value of properties went up by 4.5% in comparison to 2025. So the gross assessed value in LA County reached to $2.4 trillion. This is the entire assessed value, not market value. This is lower than market value, you can say, of all properties in county of Los Angeles. Added at 4.42% or 4.4%, about 2% or half was due to changing hands. In other words, properties were sold, and this is why the assessed value went up. So 50% of the assessed value is because of sale of properties. So folks, there is business to be had, and I want you to be cognizant of that. I know there are challenging times right now with interest rates, inflation, insurance issues, fire issues that we've had, and so forth, but someone is making transactions, and it should, why shouldn't it be any one of you? Let's look at the city of Glendale, Burbank, and Pasadena. In Burbank, $34 billion was the assessed value of all properties in 2025. Today, it is $36 billion. So Burbank went up by about 5.5%. In Glendale, it was $43 billion, and now it is at about $45 billion. So about $1.4 billion or $1.5 billion in addition in assessed values. That's about 3.4% increase, and in Pasadena about 3.6% increases. Why am I sharing this with you? Here is why. If we apply the ratio that 50% of all LA County assessed values are because of changing hands or sales of real estate, we can very easily assume that in Glendale, approximately $730 million added at $1.4 billion was increased in assessed value because of reassessments triggered by property transfers. Again, there is plenty of business to be had, even in Glendale, even with all the challenging issues that we are facing. And this, by the way, the $730 million doesn't mean that that's the value of the properties. The value of the properties is a whole lot more, but $730 million is the increment tax increase in assessed value for the properties that sold in city of Glendale. With that, President Dro, that ends my presentation. Thank you.